Hey, what is going on there? My name is Dragon, and today I'm going to be doing some live commentary on some of my old matches that I've done. So they're basically predetermined, and yeah. So we had the tourney from C-Frames stream. Shout out to C-Frames. But I got a good one for you. I got a couple of matches here and there that I wish to show you. So I had, let's see, it was White Wasteland Bonanza, okay, as a little bit of what's going on here. And for anyone that doesn't know me, I love Bonanza. It is honestly my favorite game mode. Now, with tourneys, it kind of makes it a little less fun because you have live constraints and then a time constraint, so you can't really fully play Bonanza. Like, you legit have to play it as early game as possible, which is kind of like defeats the purpose of Bonanza, but I mean, anyways. So, what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you some of these streams and give you some feedback and basically what was my thought process. So this is the first match I had, like the first match I had when doing Bonanza. I had this user, I'm gonna just say Mystic. Okay, they were a Diamond Dart user with 27 million medallions. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, I better go with a different strategy. I usually try to do my normal strategy, but I misplayed my powers, and I got Salted Wounds because I didn't change it. So I was like, alright, well, I can at least use Salted Wounds. Right here, he wasn't really too fond of that Salted Wounds, and I was able to let him do his normal strategy, which is farm up a bunch of eco, then use Cobras to offensive push and early rush. Either it be Camo Regen Rainbow or Oh My Gods. It's usually a Mega Boost specific strategy. But either way, in my opinion, I find it kind of toxic because I feel as though Cobras are just a cheap way to win, in my opinion, especially on Bonanza, because it doesn't make sense why you would want to grind Bonanza in White Wasteland by any means, because it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you grind and farm Bonanza wins in White Wasteland where it's 20 medallions to get in, 40 for your win, and you're using a strategy like this? It just doesn't make any sense. So right here, I'm sending out Space Pinks because I thought he was going to go DFA at the very start. So I was like, alright, well, this is going to be simple. It was pretty simple until you started pulling out the Cobras out of his butt, and yeah. So basically, I'm fishing for Salted Wounds by doing Pinks because I'm a little bit behind on eco, but not too far behind. I also had no farmers because I never have any farmers because I just can never keep them. So right here he does Gen Crop, and that's when he does the strategy. He sells all his eco, gets all the Cobras, and then bam, that's the rush. And I was like, alright, well, this is going to be simple. And then here comes the Regen Rush. It was just normal rainbows, nothing specific, and I lost. But I was like, alright, that's not too big of a deal. By the way, they didn't even say GG, or they didn't have that, toxic haha, they just auto-left. They really didn't appreciate the Salted Wounds. So, yeah. So, moving on to the next one. The next one is quite interesting. So, that's not what I wanted. Hang on. Okay, so, sorry about that. I kind of goofed on that. I clicked restart the play rather than heading back to Battle TV. So this is going to be my next match. This one was quite interesting. This user had the Heli Ice strategy. Apparently, I guess they had Super Monkey and Ninja, but they never used... I don't think they used Super Monkey or Ninja. Now, right here, he has Eco Nerf, which, sure, that's useful for Bonanza, but Eco Nerf really doesn't do you any favors, especially if it's early on like this and they're banana farming. Like, it really didn't work out. So I changed up my strategy, and I've got my strategy fixed. My strategy for Bonanza that I normally do is farm village super monkey, and then pray to the great lords of our savior of RNG. Some people might call it RNGesus because you literally hope and pray that you get a good tower. Well, my good tower was Tack, which isn't exactly a sacrificial boost that you can choose, and it's okay, but you got to do a little bit of micromanaging. I mean, it's still possible because I have village, so I can just do Tack village as an alternative. But my usual strategy is I try to get up as many factories as I can before round 13. Around round 12 is when I stop getting factories for a moment and put down a 3-0 Sun God. Okay? No range boosts, just a 3-0. And for the village, I usually do a 0-2 just to get the camo detection. The reason why I don't do range boosts too much is because when I set up temples later, I don't choose range boosts because then that sacrifices more stuff than what I need. And sometimes it can sacrifice stuff that I don't want to be sacrificed, such as farms or other temples. So it's a little neat little trick where range of your tower actually matters. So they're balloon ecoing, and I'm like, okay, they have heli, cool. So they have heli and eco nerf. They later show that they have budget balloons, which, I mean, honestly, budget balloons, the only application I could ever see budget balloons actually working is something like this, where it's a yellow rush, but with 2 tack shooters and that village giving a nice good buff to those tack shooters, a strong yellow rush like this probably isn't going to do much. Maybe a regen yellow rush, but that's still pushing it, especially for the fact that I can just maelstrom that. So right here, I'm just ecoing it up, still getting some farms. They have 2 Razor Helis. I'm gonna fast forward through this because it kind of gets a little bit boring just to see yellow balloons get popped over and over. So right here is when I get my first factory. He still has, I'm gonna assume it's a he. I mean, hey, it could be a she, it could be an Apache helicopter. I mean, hey, who's judging here? So I get up my factories. Another good trick is that right here he sends the camo rush, and I'm like, yeah, good luck. I get my Sun God up in time, and yeah, they just wasted all their cash trying to do that rush, which they failed. And now they're just trying to max eco, like absolutely max ecoing and wasting all their cash trying to eco. And so now he gets downdraft, and they have this rush, and basically they have a hard time, and then they DC because this rush just like doesn't work. And the reason why I laughed was because I personally despise, like, next to Cobra strategies, I despise Heli Ice, only for the fact that everybody that does use it is either going to have Heli Ice with Eco Choke, Knockout, Quick Shot kind of bullcrap strategies just to get that cheap win in an arena where the payout of medallions don't really matter. And I just don't understand why you would want to do something like that in a low-level arena like White Wastelands. Now, does this mean that I probably shouldn't do it? No, I probably shouldn't. I probably should be doing CC boosts only. But I choose to play something fun, something different, and that's Bonanza. So we're going to move on to our next match, and this will be our second to last match for now. The next match is a rematch of our first match. It is going to be against Mystic again, this time on Pumpkin Patch. This time, I knew his strategy and I knew his game. I was left by one thing to make this actually fail on his side. So I bring in Eco Choke and Salted Wounds. And let me tell you, this play is just so heavenly. Okay, so I Eco Choke. Okay, I try to stall out as much time as possible, getting as much more time as possible. I get some salted wounds. That's some extra cash for me. He does the exact same thing. It was like predicted. Okay, call me having a third eye here. It's like, I mean, so right here he's facepalming like, bro, I don't know what you're doing, but you're gonna die. Fun fact, I actually do, but it's actually pretty sad on what he's done. Like, with what I eco choked, it made the rush a lot less. Where I probably could have defended it. I probably could have if I had a track power like Juggernaut. So right here, he gets up some Cobras. I eco choke a Gen Crop, making him lose all those bananas. And then right here, he cripples to try getting all those lives lost. And so basically, all those yellows is what leaks through and not the pinks. So even with that Cobra strategy, it failed miserably. Had I gotten that sun got up, it would have completely shut down everything. And the Juggernaut, the Juggerlanche or Glue Storm would have countered that hardcore. Like, hands down. And it was just the most amazing play that I've ever had. I've never been able to successfully eco choke a Gen Crop like that. All those bananas just going to waste. Alright, so we're gonna go and do our last Battle TV match for now on this special video assault with live commentary. Alright, so our last match is going to be against Francis. Alright, so this one's also a Bonanza match. I think this one's a little bit more standard in terms of like how everybody plays. I usually play and get a couple banana forms up. I believe they wanted late game, but I didn't make it go late game because, well, here's the thing. A lot of people, when you do Bonanza, they'll spam the late game emoji, where you're basically forced to do late game with them, unless, you know, they rush first, which, about 50% of the time they will, 50% of the time they won't. So right here, I'm getting up some farms. I got a village up for the monkey farmer and for the bomb tower, because in case he does try to sneak some black balloons in, I can quickly sell a couple farms and get the other balloon. Now right here, he says sorry. I'm not sure why. I'm only gonna guess that it was because I lost a couple of lives and he wanted late game, so he didn't want me to lose too many lives. That's my only guess. Either way, they were forcing me and wanting me to do late game. I was like this is my thought process with late game. Either you're gonna do late game and you're actually gonna have a decent defense to survive a rush, or you're gonna lose. Like, if you want me to do late game, you gotta prove to me that you want to do late game by at least defending the stereotypical round 13 rush. So right here I am getting all these farms. I basically have about 4 factories. I think this is about the time where I start rushing, because 2 ninjas and a wizard is not a defense. And this probably caught him off guard so much, because I don't think he was expecting a rush from me, because he knew I was just gonna banana farm and sit there. And right here, he's just max ecoing, and sure, that's fine, but what he doesn't realize is here comes all these camo balloons, and the reason why I have deactivated abilities is because it shuts down so many things. Okay, it shuts down people using Phoenix, it shuts down people using the Sabotage Supply Line ability, Absolute Zero, Glue Storm. Any tower ability, it gets shut down. Now right here, he's gonna spam the facepalm emoji because he wanted to do late game. It didn't happen, so now he's salty. He's mad that he didn't get his little late game. And it's like, well, if he had an actual defense, maybe it could have gone late game. I personally think that if you're going to go late game and force someone to do late game with you, you should at least have a defense to do so. If you were going to go late game, I recommend having a spike factory down. Have 2 spike factories that are spike ball, and then a third one that will have spike storm. But even with spike storm, I don't think there'll be enough because of deactivated abilities, or as I call it, just DA. Sun God could help, but Super Monkeys can't see a camo. I recommend probably maybe 6 to 8 wizards and 5 to 7 Bloon Setsu ninjas could probably help, along with that spike factory, and that probably would have been able to survive a good majority of that rush. But either way, what can you do? So that's all the Battle TV videos that I have that were interesting, to say to the least. I do have a couple that I'll probably showcase. As of right now, I'm going to showcase a couple of the tourney matches that I had. So I'm going to showcase 2 matches in the tourney. It's going to be these 2. This one is live. I don't know why. It shouldn't be. But it's basically, it was a tourney that was done by C-Frames, and this is going to be the little ad sponsor thing, where basically if you haven't subscribed to C-Frames, you might want to do that. No one's stopping you from wanting to do something that is incredibly awesome to watch. So right here, the tourney was actually a DFA tourney, where basically you were forced to do DFA. Now, my thoughts on DFA is that, yeah, it's good probably for early, middle, and late game, but once you get into Zoma God territory, that's where it kind of sort of falls apart, where if you don't get a Ground Zero or a Spectre, yeah, it's GG. Maybe even BFBs if you really tried, but basically, this is how it went. So, things went pretty similar and smooth. We were just having a grand old time during the stream. The stream just ended too, as prior to this recording. And so basically what happened is we did some streaming, we did some good times. Right here, I just get up a couple of monkeys. It wasn't nearly as bad as the next match, where the balloon rushes were a lot more aggressive, which kind of made it really hard to do any sort of eco. So right here, I usually do a mixed eco with DFA, where I try to balance between farming and balloon ecoing. And so right here, I try to get a Speckle Pult because round 8, if you do DFA, round 8 is always going to be a yellow rush. Hands down. If you don't have that Speckle Pult, you are going to lose a lot of lives. That's what helps you pop them yellows. So right here, I'm getting some more farms. I'm trying to get up some eco. I get my eco up to, I believe, 300, and then after a little bit, so right here, I do a regen lead over a regular lead to make him lose just that little extra life, and just to get that Juggernaut early. So right here, I was expecting a camo rush, so I get another Juggernaut, and if I needed to, I could sell all my farms and try to get a couple more darts and whatnot, but I don't think that really happened, so I was like, alright, well, it's now or never. And so, I took that opportunity, started getting up a little bit of extra cash, put down some defenses because 2 Juggernauts and 2 Dartlings isn't going to do you much. So right here, I just sent a small regen rush. It wasn't enough. It regened, and that was the first match. Unfortunately, I wasn't expecting that little bit of rush. Like, it was so tiny of a rush, but it was pretty devastating. So we're gonna see if that next match was fine, if it worked. I don't know. Battles can be quite complicated. It still says live. Why does it say live? Unable to. Oh well. I guess we're not gonna see that match. I guess it doesn't want to show me getting clapped. I was gonna I was gonna show that I got clapped like 4 different times by Cody. Shout out to him. Uh, it was a great 4 matches that I had against him. I got queued with him 4 different times on the different tourneys that we had, and I got clapped each time. It was still a very fun. It was still a very fun tourney. I had a blast. I hope you did too. I hope C-Frames did too. I hope everybody had a blast during that stream. And I'm gonna cut it off here. Getting a little bit long, and I'll see you all in the next one on a special video of Bloons Tower Defense Battles Salty Matches. It will be a nice, good little series addition to something that you can enjoy. You know, some fresh new content that will actually have my voice for once instead of a soundboard of bites of just my opponents being questionable on their choices. And with that, I bid you all adieu.